it was one banger after another. The storylines were incredible. The matches were incredible. Like, so many big surprises, upsets, and just good storylines, as I already said. So I'm here for it. I'm very excited to see who's going to come out on top of EMEA and NA as well, to join all the teams that we just got to see on that graphic. Now, let's talk about how you can join us, because tickets are still available. Make sure to grab your tickets for the World Finals right and now, as we had a phenomenal time. And of course, once again, we're also going to offer up a complimentary tour through Stockholm, verbally or physically, from Johnny. Isn't that a treat?
No, we actually canceled that. The bracket looks so good that I'm just going to force everyone to sit in their seats and just stare at the Overwatch all day.
Everybody sit down. Watch the
This
game.
will be an event you can't miss, okay? We will not be going outside. Who wants to go outside anyway? It'll be cold, it'll be dark, the sun will set at 3 p.m. You don't want to be
the perfect
outside.
environment
You
for
wanna
a
be
gaming
inside
convention.
and watch Overwatch. And so that's all we're going to do. And maybe I'll say some
Okay.
first words, but that's it.
You know
That's going
what?
to be epic experience.
Fine.
And you
Fair.
got tour by Jake.
Let's just only do the gamer thingy. Why not? We might go outside once in a while to get to the airport, from the airport, you know, like those kind of things. But that's it. We're all
Sleep in the
locked in.
menu.
Let's lock in already. Let's log in for our match 1 here in the upper bracket. Qadsiah will be facing off against their opponent of choice, which is Vision Esports. Now, of course, Qadsiah, there is a slew of good things we can say about that team. They've been absolutely phenomenal all stage long. Once again, just not dropping a single match. They did get some dive reps in just last week. They played Chase. We saw Chase, I think, once or twice already at the very beginning of the stage. But overall, they were still playing mostly, like, you know, their Symmetra shenanigans, everything that worked so well for them already in stage 2. But they're definitely looking ahead as well, meta-wise. Will they need it against Vision? I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opponent. You got to call this like a very strong favorite. That's the power of being the 1 seed, right? You get to take the 4th seed, usually the you know, your comfortable preferred opponent, and that's all you need to get this win to qualify to Stockholm, right? So for Qadsiah, I feel like they should just go back to the bread and butter, play the sim, play these like rush poke comps that they're so insanely good at. But maybe there's an argument to like up the pace to try and deal with the backline from Vision Esports. It feels like this is just all coming up Qadsiah, though. I feel like they'd be hard pressed to find a way to lose it, and it is going to be Ziad in the starting lineup.
Yeah, they're so comfortable. They can't put a foot wrong, so they're going to bring their A game today, and I'm like, whatever comp doesn't matter. Like, I think it's sub in Chase, and I think they'll win anyway.
I mean, yes, so far they haven't lost when Chase was in the mix either. They dropped the map. Overall, I think they now dropped 3 maps during stage 3, 2 of them against Twisted Minds. So just the usual opponent that keeps on making sure to make him sweat a little bit. But Checkmate, man, he's our player to watch in this one. He's just such a boon for this team, right? Insane tracer that we know and love, but then also he established himself as an incredible Symmetra, allowing them a lot of different ways to play.
I mean, the versatility is crazy. You know, now these days, you have a flex player who can usually, you know, play a little bit of Tracer, then you can flex over, play some Genji Echo, whatever. Like, Checkmate can just play everything. And it's such a great boon when you're then trying to put in Ziad, you're trying to put in Chase, you're playing all of these different kinds of compositions, and then Checkmate's like, oh, I'm one of the best Symmetras in the world. So I think that just kind of like builds a great foundation for Qadsiah, and then everyone can just follow Checkmate's lead and pop off. So when you got the back line on lock, the way Landon and Calyx do, and then you have an incredible flex player, it just makes it so much easier for everybody else. And so, yeah, Checkmate, amazing shout out.
Yeah, now looking at their opponent for today, Vision Esports. We have praised them quite a lot, actually, throughout this stage. They came in as quite a surprise by taking down Gen G in the first week, 3-0, so it was not even a close match. And then we just saw them as a really strong, like, middle of the pack kind of team, but they were relying really heavily on their dive, and that they kind of lost speed on that composition as this stage went on.
Yeah, this is going to be the challenge for them, right? Is adapting to the current meta. I think a lot of pressure remains on the backline, and as kind of it is in every series for this team, like, because they play these kind of wonky, often double flex support styles, you're relying on Violet and Sile to have big games and find individual kills, like find the solo plays, which is so scary against a team like Qadsiah that just gives you nothing for free, that is so good at punishing teams coming out of position. Like, trying to get cheeky on this backline, trying to push your limits, you could very easily just get crushed by the reactivity, the coordination that Qadsiah bring. But at the same time, I feel like Vision, they've got to stick with their guns, right? They've got to try to make those plays and make these strats work. That's been their way to find the success all stage long.
No way, Laurie. Please.
I was just about to say, let's talk
They're
about
gonna go to
Lijiang.
Junkertown, ban Kiriko, and play
Will they die
Alarm.
on the
I'm telling you. I'm telling you
Yeah.
that will happen in this series. 100%, Johnny.
We're going to see the Violet Ilari, but I will not enjoy it.
But like, if he pops off, he pops off. Like,
Yeah, but
it's a
because
good
saying,
look when it works.
it's like picking Widowmaker. It's like a support player
Fair.
that's just like, oh, I need to take over the game. But it's just like, you don't want your hit scan to look Widowmaker. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, you don't... It's just too much. If I'm Tama, I'm like crying for heals. I'm like crying, like, please, Violet.
Bro, play Roadhog. Heal yourself. Literally let Violet do it.
Honestly, I would be down. Road
That's what I'm
Orange, you
saying.
combine the two, there we go.
Love it.
That's
I
the
love
answer
it.
to
That's
me.
the comp. That's the comp. No cap.
Let's go.
That's the comp. Okay. Well, we
Listen,
can leave that as
The fact that their escort win rate is 25% is not boding well for this style, because that's like the Junkertown
Junkertown,
special,
sure.
right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, like, total win rate overall for them was 60%, right? Whereas Qadsiah, like, they won every single match. So obviously the numbers are gonna look better percentage-wise. So yeah, do with these what you want. I think Vision has to just come up with something more surprising to take Qadsiah down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just such an impressive stage across the board from Qadsiah. It's like you can't look at these stats and really take anything away. Like, oh no, they lost one push map because they only played 3 because the series like don't go long because they 3-0 everybody, you know. So, you know, these stats, if only, they really just set the stage for how favored Qadsiah are. And honestly, this is the reward you get for a monster individual stage, right? That you just put down all challengers, all comers. Now you get a relatively comfortable choice of opponent here to qualify for Stockholm. And, you know, Vision, they're looking for the big upset, but also they're looking to just play a respectable game here and set themselves up for a lower bracket run if they're not able to get the win here today.
Yeah, they're definitely not considered the favorite, and I think that will be is that mirrored or displayed or shown in our predictions for this one. If you're not picking out Qadsiah, then you're either on a Vision Esports salary monthly, and you're just like, you know,
open to that.
really doing your job.
Yeah.
No, I think this is just gonna be Qadsiah. Like, there is no world in which Vision should be considered to take this one.
Here we go. You got a little Qadsiah logo there. Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you take Alcad against anybody else in the EMEA right now. Alcad is a team that wants to go to Stockholm and win it all, that wants to get those top places in the world. And so, of course, it's almost a necessity that they kind of obliterate their regional competition here. And that's been the case for a while. I just can't see anything but an Qadsiah 3-0 right now.
Do you think this will go longer than an hour? I'm gonna say no.
I hope not. I'm rather tired. I gotta be real with you. So
It's going to be a quick one, Johnny. They're going to make
I'm just
mincemeat of the
setting
opposition.
stakes here. If I'm betting channel points, anything like
I'm all in.
90%,
I'm all in on
Qadsiah.
99. I'm all in at
92,
99.
That's just not worth it. I'm not touching anything over 90.
but I respect those 8%
I do.
rooting for Vision Esports. No, honestly, but like the team, they have impressed us, right? Like they play good Overwatch. Like when they look good, they look good. Where they're comfortable. It's just Qadsiah is a different kind of beast to take down. This is of course a rematch, as every match will be. Last time they faced off against each other was in week 1, day 2, I believe, and it was a 3-0 victory for Qadsiah, and it was not close. It was not close. Now we're finding ourselves in Lijiang Tower as the map of choice for Qadsiah. So coming in as the higher seed, and we have a Maga and a Pharah ban.
They're just gonna abuse them with Symmetra right now. They're about to put on a masterclass clinic, and like, what are Vision gonna do about it, man? Qadsiah with like the Sim, Bastion, Zarya, the mid stuff. That is, I don't think there's a counter. I think that
There's
is
only
the meta.
one thing.
I'm surprised other teams aren't already playing that. In my opinion, it's unbeatable.
There's only one thing that can save us right now, and it's Herbalife Guangzhou Charge Choice of 1 popping off like it's 2021 self, 2020 self.
Troy needs to go Super Saiyan. This is like a life game. Double his HP, double his damage, give him the raid boss stats.
I mean, that could be enough to get them in control. But you know, you never know. We're about to find out though, as we're heading it over to our casters for this one. Of course, we've got Mitch and Matt on the mic for it.
Thank you very much. So we're going to be back, of course, here for the first of our playoff games. Matt,
it is good you're back. I mean, what? So he was saying that that Johnny's quarterly, you're bi-weekly. What's going on here?
I should just on the intros. What you mean in terms of my attendance? I was in Brazil, man.
Attendance.
I was trying to get the bag out there in South America.
And if this was a school, they'd hold you back a grade.
That's true. I know. I would be doing makeup classes, and it sucks because working with you makes me dumber by the second. So I'm not graduating.
That's true.
Anytime soon, bro. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I think the desk are pretty reasonable in saying that this is not expected to be that kind of close game. Qadsiah make the obvious choice of picking Vision here because they just want to secure that Stockholm berth. They get that sorted out first, then worry about the rest of the teams. This Qadsiah team last week lost the Saudi E-League final at LAN to Twisted Minds in a 4-2 game. Twisted Minds.
But you said it was the weather swung the game.
I heard it was very cold in Riyadh, and I don't know if Qadsiah quite have a winter uniform yet.
A winter look. Okay.
Yeah. So I do think that was Landon seems to feel like that was an impact. You can go and find the interview on OWTV, but point is, there was some dirty stuff that Twisted Minds had prepared for Qadsiah. They really tried to counter them. I don't know if Vision are really going to, move in that same direction because they've got such a defined style, Matt. It's the Violet style, double flex, DPS look, Tama's pool, which you never sort of know what they're going to come out with here. I do feel like Qadsiah very favored in this matchup.
I mean, look, there's no way you wouldn't favor Qadsiah in this matchup, right? Vision, we talked a little bit about it last week, where they do a great job of beating up on everybody underneath them. They just have not really been able to punch up into like that top 3. And look, I don't think we even expect them to beat like somebody in that top 3, right? But just to be able to give them some games, it's really been a lot of blowouts. So Vision, it looks like actually they'll do something a little bit different here. Mitch will actually be a Doomfist here to kick things off, and they'll play Chosuan on the Echo. So Echo Sojourn here against Qadsiah going with that good old sim look.
Yeah, I mean, Qadsiah bread and butter is that sim play. Lucio Kiri for both sides here. Violet's still going to find a way to do the most damage in the lobby, though I'm quite sure of that. Here's a TP already being set up now. We'll see what Landon wants to drop back in. Yeah, Tama, if he can't get in and find that impact early, man, if there's a TP to dodge him or if you just play off the point, Qadsiah can always come back in and slap the Doom after those cooldowns get used.
And here's the rough part for Vision, right? If the Doom can't really go in, they're just kind of waiting for the Doom to get healed up and the cooldowns to come back and then to go in. Like, there's not really a great opportunity for them to find pickoffs, and at that point, it's a great sign for Qadsiah to just use the sim and get on top of those players. So they really have to make these dives work with the Doom.
His TPs are allowing Lab to basically to always be in some sort of flanking position. Tama there's already made use of the power blocks. So Vision Esports are going to have to wait for a rotation. In they come. Seismic Slam already. Look how low Tama is. And Vision are really just tickling the point. How are they supposed to access this sim in the backline? How are they supposed to find their way toward the heavy hitters of Qadsiah?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's really difficult to even kind of go into that Ramatra. I think it's a great read for Qadsiah as Chosuan tries to put some damage down over the top, going a little bit of a flank, but you see that sim TP already set up to go to the back line.
Chosuan has to commit to a greater degree. I think it needs to find some form of elimination here. Cookie obviously can set up, but doesn't have good sightlines. Doom is not going to set you up with those sightlines you're looking for. Here's a Kitsune rush here for Landon, though, thrown down, and Violet's already been picked off. Not the star you're looking for, and Labda, guess what? Yep, flanking angle, as per usual. Always in a position undetected. That disruptor shot is going to hold Vision at bay.
But like, look at how long it took for that to develop, Mitch, and we're already at 70% on the point, right? Like, it just takes so long for Vision rotate, because there's so much mobility for Qadsiah, right? Like, if you use some of the cooldowns for Vision, get on top of them, they TP away, then you got to use the speed boost to kind of go in, try and track some players down. Is Chosuan's going to be the one who looks here to get on an off angle. Just try and put some damage down here, maybe force them back to the point, but they are not scared whatsoever.
I mean, 90% is about to come up here, and Vision Esports have to start making use of some of these ultimates. They've banked them up, and so it's go time. Soundberry here in play, but the symbol definitely going to shut Cookie down to some degree. And yeah, Checkmate's having to take that fight here, and Lab to both collapse on the enemy Sojourn. The one hero emanating most of the threat. Sile just lingering out in the open is easily picked off there, and it's a dupe of a Lucio here. Smacks of desperation for Choice here one. It's a 100-0 start here. Qadsiah looking strong.
I mean, that's as good as you can look, right, to kick things off. And I'd love to touch on, like, Jake, me and him talked a little bit about it last week, where it's like maybe this sim isn't as, I remember at the beginning of the stage it was like, oh, sim is gone, like you can't really play sim anymore. But you know, you start to look at some of the patches and see how it impacts things, and it may not be as impactful as I think people had thought. And like, Sim is still really good. I mean, the TP distance right on that perk was really like the biggest thing I think changed at the beginning of the season, and then some kind of like damage adjustments. But still, she is phenomenal, and you see the destruction here. I mean, nothing, literally no limbs on the Vision Esports side. A really brutal first round, and we're gonna get an almost repeat in terms of the comps. I'll say that Chosen One here, this is not a great echo point, so gonna go over to the Venture.
There's something to challenge this sim position. You really need to put some pressure on Checkmate here, otherwise he and Laptor are going to do what they did earlier, just find opportunities to bully enemy DPS. Choice one, this is not really where you want to be as the Venture. This would surprise no one, I'm sure. No opportunity there to burrow back underground. Ziad knows that there's a long cooldown on that ability, so just goes to town on Choice one.
I mean, once you know that Choice one doesn't have any of the abilities, right, on Venture, they're really vulnerable as a hero, so you just kind of run around the corner. You've seen the Nemesis form. He just gets the health pack. That's the only reason why it extends a little bit longer. But that Vortex with the slow is so nasty, is just not able to make it out. So you lose Kellex, but look at how low the health bars are for Vision. You can play a little bit faster here still if you're Qadsiah. That's already the Suzu out from Silas, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this time I'm getting poked down pretty low, trying to play around the corner, but getting hit by Ziad constantly.
This is nasty to work with. I mean, look at every time we're on with Tama, poor guy.
Yeah, this rematch comp honestly is really solid. Ziad just has to hold space and let Laptor go to work. It's kind of nice to be able to rely on your DPS to deliver so frequently like this. There's a Vortex thrown down, slows up Vision again. Tama needs to land and find instant impact. If there's like a delay or if the cooldown needs to be cycled again, that would be a problem. At least it'll be cycled faster now with the Ace buff. Qadsiah Rush with Choice there. One is going to be picked off first. Yet again, it's landed with surgical precision. Takes the Venture out of the lineup. Ziad eventually falls, but there's a question as to whether his job has already been done. But Laptor was not able to be kept alive. Isolated and forced to play away from that Qadsiah Rush. Checkmate's found himself one kill, but Qadsiah probably haven't done enough this time.
No, it's a huge kill there on the Ziad. Ziad's really kind of like where everything, emanates from Qadsiah with this kind of composition, right? Like using those vortexes to slow, amping the pace with the Nemesis form, and then kind of going. You get rid of Ziad, and there's not really another hero or player that can like take purchase on objectives for Alcad, and they get up to the high ground. That's going to be the overclock, and Violet doesn't get the beat off. That is brutal there for Vision Esports.
It's just another Ajax. It's crazy. Violet is playing in the middle of the map, I think inside a Vortex, which is half the problem. And he gets picked off there just by a swing from the Ramatra. A little bit too close to the front line, and yet Tama's been able to do a lot of good work. Great seismic slam on a Kellex. Orbital Strike rather, be able to pick him off. Checkmate, yeah, definitely in a vulnerable position. This is some really nice Doomfist sequencing. The Annihilation here for Ziad is maybe a little bit ill-considered. It picks off Sile. There's still an entire third, or rather 3 players of this Vision Esports team lined up.
I mean, now you're starting to see like when the Doomfist can actually get in there and make impact. Like it actually does look pretty competent this comp against what Qadsiah is running, and I like this change from Alcad. So Lab is going to go over and play Cassidy. Can obviously still give some of the same impact as Sojourn, is like just kind of like long-range pressure, but going to be a little bit sturdier against some of those flankers and even the Doom.
You see that cookie poke? Pretty dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Alex had to wall ride and tuck away after taking a big railgun hit. Here's Choice one. We've been looking for them to have an impact in this game so far, but instantly hit it out by the switch over towards the Cassidy by Labdor. It is the answer that really puts a spanner in the works here for Vision Esports. That Cassidy switch up, unexpected to run into that, and Choice one has struggled to have impact over the course of this map entirely, Matt.
Well, he pops out of the ground with the burrow on Venture, and it is a Vortex and a mag grenade waiting for him. No way you're surviving on that. You see Ziad get so aggressive. They actually wanted that kill on a Violet. Maybe he pushed up a little bit too far. Here's going to be the rush.
80% and counting, and you see Qadsiah more than happy to disengage away from it now with the rush of their own, but the tech shock's coming in off to the side, and Laptor's going to be picked off. Cookie at least has the range advantage against the Cassidy, even though they're effective against that Venture. The nice opener to the fight. Choice one gets in there, finds Pig, but crucially it's Cookie opening the account with that headshot.
And they've looked much better with the Venture than the Echo, right? I think you just probably couldn't have wanted to play the Venture on the previous round, and I know if they're able to win this, I don't know if you can make it work in the final round. It's going to be Cookie with an overclock trying to seal the deal here, just pumping out damage down on the Qadsiah players in the choke.
Cookie's doing the most right now. I don't even know if it's about the Venture doing more than the Echo. It's just that this Sojourn play has been so damn good. Laptor picked off though. Choice one is able to get in and dispatch the Cassidy. And here you have it, folks. After a slow start, Vision Esports are making this Doomfist comp work.
I'm sure we've had it, but I can't really remember a time where we showed a stat screen where somebody got no limbs the entire first round and then taking the second round. It's like that big of a. Does that basically sum up Vision Esports as a team, that they can go absolutely killless against the team and then just come out and kind of work them the next round as they kind of battle back through some really tough comps.
I mean, what? But they're gonna 14 aliens in that second round.
Yeah. Right. We know those are all in the second round. So we'll see. And that's also with like an Ajax in the mix, right? So they're still able to come out on top. Let's see what they decide to run here. The Juno, okay, just for probably the speed ring here at the start and then kind of saving that Lucio speed. So they'll go back to the Echo. Yeah. This didn't really look great here at the start, but maybe into the Diva, it's a little bit better.
This is the classic Alcat comp that we're seeing, right? This is very much their signature look. Seattle and the Diva. Yeah, like you mentioned, you can carve the Diva out of mech a little bit easier, but Lapter is back on the Soj and already strikes gold. Cookie down straight away. Now Checkmate allowing for, once again, Lapter, very similarly to the first round, always to be on a flanking angle, an off angle, one that's really hard to protect with Doom, who, of course, who really only can make space if people are sort of grouped and he's able to knock them around and displace them.
Well, you saw there for a little bit as well, where Checkmate actually put some sticky bombs there. Or actually, just want to put some sticky bombs on a Checkmate, and they're not even really worried about it because it's not like the Venture damage, which is big burst, like kind of like just take you out right away damage. They're able to just kind of heal on through and use Suzus and stuff to kind of like keep Checkmate alive. So never really worried about that. The Tracer switch is a little bit more interesting. I think I like this here better than kind of sticking to the Echo here for Vision.
So yeah, press up close to the most base skin in the entire game. No is no. And again, this defense matrix is getting a ton of value. There is incidental poke, especially the threat of the Kiriko randomly headshotting people. It allows Tama, though, to get in. Here's the dive coming out from Ziad, and Vita's been picked off. That's what they were looking for. Now the Qadsiah rush ready to go. And even a symbol. This is going from bad to worse. If that symbol comes down, Cookie does nothing in this fight. Labda instead just picks them off. The fact that Qadsiah can roll both the rush and the wall into the next fight is not good for Vision.
It's absolutely miserable there for Vision, because you're also going to have the overclock here for Qadsiah. You're going to have, you're literally everything to work with, and you're going to be about 60%. So a really good opportunity for them to close it out.
Kami here, of course, is trying to set up his foothold further forward. Allow at least for the Qadsiah rush to come out, but Qadsiah have room to disengage. Still sitting on that Sim ultimate as well. Here comes the ad, gets forward. Wall's going to come up right about now. There's also a remake opportunity for Qadsiah's tank now. Nice punch, but not enough fighter picked up. What? Bro, I mean, he's got money, man. That's about it. Sure as hell doesn't have a sound barrier. That is devastating. Qadsiah now making mincemeat of Vision Esports, and I'm sorry, guys, but Vision aren't helping their own case here.
No, this isn't good. You can see it from a mile away. We actually had like you can see Violet on the X-ray and like kind of the healing plus on his player avatar. Then all of a sudden, Ziad gets right in his face, melees him down as he goes for the beat. This Cookie with an overclock here from the spawn does get Labda, so we'll see if he can kind of keep this one interesting. But without Tama and Ziad at full health, I mean,
without a sound barrier, that's just not going to win Overwatch, like an Overwatch round, are you? Like this.
Well, they did in the second round.
Yeah, to actually win Control Center with that Ajax. Bro, come on, man. Like that's not reasonable. Like you can't be doing this.
That is the most Vision Esports map, I feel like, though, right? Absolutely eliminate, like killless in round 1. You win with an Ajax in round 2, and then you basically go killless again in round 3 with another Ajax.
I think that like once we get okay, look at this. I mean, I think my
Cookie was at 14 final blows in the second round.
My issue here is
15.
the choicy one's not able to have impact in this game, right? On the Echo and on the Venture, like he just doesn't do anything.
I thought on the Venture.
Bro, he got like 2 kills. It's literally Cookie that is owning in that second round.
Yeah,
like, it's hard for the Venture to get in, right? Because you like the Qadsiah hindrance is a bit of a problem. You are relying on Cookie to outrange Qadsiah and like get good damage on him to force him out of the game. But you can't guarantee that. And situations like this are tough, right? Like you don't have anywhere to go. Ziad very heads up here, knows he can actually hard commit onto the Venture who's playing it off. Like we're just running choice, everyone getting punched. That's so rough.
Just a highlight reel.
True though.
Well, I mean the Echo and the Tracer I thought were like a worse look. than playing like the Venture. At least Chosi1 was able to get space like in on the hero at moments, and at least like kind of separate Qadsiah and make them kind of worry. There was no worry for the Echo or the Tracer play, right? They almost just kind of like ignored it, like it wasn't even really a factor, right? Which obviously puts a lot of pressure on the Cookie and Tama. So let's see this one. Oh, gets booped back a little bit by the mech, and then finished off there with a melee.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is obviously a really volatile setup where you've got like burst damage from Lambda. Also, like you can be displaced as you're trying to touch down. I think like there was a beat inside a Vortex last round, which is not ideal. So like I do think that, you know, you do want to time these things to try and put yourself in a favorable spot, but Qadsiah are also very good at sort of punishing this kind of stuff, and they're really, you can't give them an opening. But I'm sorry, bro. Like, yeah, no, there's not really much excusing it.
Well, these are the things that Vision could be able to get away with against some of the lower teams in EMEA, right? But when you get into these games against Qadsiah and, you know, VP and Twisted Minds, like that's not going to cut it, right? Just a step above. Shocked with how much of a blowout that first round and even kind of the last round felt that the sets are even this close, where you know, the Vision Esports kind of you know, leads in terms of the healing done, but then you know, they fall behind in terms of the damage. The damage dealt like being a little bit lower. I think that's like, you know, you didn't really get much of the Echo or the Tracer really at all.
Yeah, I do think that's you know, a component of it, but it's got to do with comp, right? We don't expect like Tracers to put out the you know, the raw amount of
that's true.
I think that's, you know, pretty acceptable still. Something surely for Vision to work on going forward. Now Qadsiah are getting to sort of play their you know, own game here, so you know, can't take too much away from them. Do you guys have aspirations of competing at this level or competing in Overwatch? Well, FACEIT season 7, excuse me, is underway. You can, through the FACEIT League, make it into the OWCS, and even if your aspirations are not so high, you will be able to find yourself a league that suits your skill level with players, of course, you can get alongside and compete with FACEIT League. Obviously, points on the line. fce.gg/FACEIT League. You can make it OWCS. Definitely in, you know, in some time. I think there's like great competition we see in the promo relegation coming into OWCS.
True.
Teams coming up from Masters. So there is a really defined pathway to do so. And honestly, the FACEIT system's kind of awesome. It's all on rails. Get in there, play with your team, and climb the ranks.
And you could be the next Dildux.
Yeah,
you could be, well, hopefully perform a bit better than that, but in terms of entertainment value, maybe you're the next Dildux. Maybe you kind of you know, a lot of these kind of players, right? You know, you can kind of get up in OWCS, you look pretty good coming out of like, you know, a FACEIT League. Maybe that's not the team you stay with forever, right? Maybe you kind of start climbing the ranks in terms of team, and then who knows where you end up.
Yeah, I mean, like I think, you know, Dildux are one example of a team that also came into OWCS and still maintained the core principle of wanting to have fun and play. I think at some point, like you have to drill down if you want to you know, make it a Stockholm, but we're talking about making OWCS map, not making Stockholm. Those are two very different.
Hey, hold on. Gibraltar in EMEA?
Dude,
what's going on?
Genuinely crazy.
That's in the water.
We don't see this map. We don't see like New Queen Street or Hollywood in EMEA really at all, right? So
no, EMEA, like, you know, obviously it's you know, Lijiang Tower, permanent map number 1. Typically we see like, you know, Junkertown, Rialto. We've seen like you know, some teams like Quick Esports go to Gibraltar and stuff at times, but none of the real top teams kind of go for it. So curious what Vision Esports has planned here. You can play some of like that double flex support here. Like, are you trying to get Tama on Winston? Is this what you're like trying to get, like a little bit more dive? An interesting selection here for Vision.
I don't think it's crazy to you know, for Vision, right, to try and take teams onto this kind of map. If I remember, last time these two played back in week 1, and it was a 3-0, but I don't think there was a Gibraltar map there. I also wonder if at some point Qadsiah are going to try and like work hazard comps back into their setups, because obviously they've realized that hazard is really good against sim. So any team that like wants to play a bunch of sim, hazard like can slash people through TP, can block the TP with the jagged walls, like a ton of stuff that you can really do. And that's what was done to them by Twisted Minds actually in Riyadh. So I'm curious if they take this opportunity to mix it up a bit. Freya's going to be banned out here. Okay.
So it's a Kiri ban here early for Vision. This probably says you want to play like on a Winston, right? I was slightly surprised though that like we don't see like maybe a Winston ban for, you know, Qadsiah. Although I was like, I wonder if there's a world in which you kind of get rid of Diva if you're Vision, right? But looks like they go in a little bit of a different direction, and then Labda doesn't really play the Freya as much as some of the other you know, players in the hit scan role in EMEA. So getting rid of the Freya here, pretty good, allowing him to kind of play, whether it be the Sojourn or the Cassidy.
Freya is also good. I'm kind of coping here. I want to see them try Hazard, but Freya is very good against Hazard, right? Or any, like you could also play Freya very effectively against the Winston and cause problems for Tama. Qadsiah just not about it. I don't want to go there. Landon, like, I don't hate this setup. Landon does not want to play BAP against the sim comps, right? He's been very like straightforward about that. He also doesn't want to play it against comps that can dive, so do keep an eye out for like what Tama and maybe Qadsiah or if there's like a dive DPS are going to try and do. But I think he probably feels relatively comfortable against like longer range pokey style comps as this Baptiste. And Baptiste also just got, you know, some tweaks to one of his major perks that actually puts the healing back on regenerative burst while giving, I think, an attack speed increase. So
it does feel a little bit though after map number 1, Mitch, kind of how Vision goes in this series depends on, like, you know, can Chosuan get anything kind of going, right? Like whether it be on Tracer, Echo, Venture, whatever he wants to play, like they're going to need him to kind of come alive. As that Lambda just rips Violet, right? As I guess Violet gets right around the corner there, maybe a little bit too low, but
yeah, it's tough. Like like there is like a pretty decent poke core in this setup. Lambda is obviously, you know, more of a mid-range DPS, but from this position, right, like you get this suppressive high ground and Ziap plays corner. You buy a lot of time for Cass to get that good damage, checkmate to set up, and land, and honestly, we'll just M1 a lot of this.
Yes, yeah, there's not really like a, yeah, I mean, sure, you're worried about the Tracer, right? But yeah, there's a really sick high angle spot here. You know, Labda being kind of like escorted around there by Kellex. Gonna get back here as looks like the cart gonna make a little bit under the underpass.
The nice disruptor shot thrown up there by Cookie just denies the wraparound by the bridge and actually will let the cart get to the underpass. But this is the hard part, right? Now Qadsiah will sort of fall back, spread a bit, play server room, some of this high ground. Tama is going to be pretty stretched in terms of his bandwidth. Like, can't solo dive into that server room. You need to slowly get that cart inching forward. Qadsiah has got the right idea.
Well, they're also going to be like kind of bunkered up in that server room with like immortality fields, sim turrets, Cassidy. It's going to be like almost impossible to work your way in there and be able to live, as we see from Landon's POV. That's exactly the setup they got going.
Can you even dive this? Like, you have to, yeah, you're right. Like, diving into immortality fields feels so bad. And it's
can do this.
Out of nowhere, bro. That is classy stuff. Landon pulls up. Cookie gets absolutely gatted from the high ground.
But like,
and that's
what
the
is
explosiveness the Simcom gives you, man?
But like, what is Tama even supposed to do, right? He's moving the cart, kind of sees some of those players in server, and he jumps. They just TP to that high ground. He's dead. I mean, it is a brutal setup there.
And like, what are you supposed to do?
For Tama to have to deal with.
In theory, you dive that as Winston and try and get behind the Ant Matrix, but you've already used your jump cooldown. Like, our cat's
right, exactly.
That, so he's just stuck out in the open against that Ant Baptiste. Bruh, that is dirty.
That is nasty.
But this is the kind of thing, right? Like, we know Vision like to try and make these like double flex core Winston-based comps work, right? I think it's kind of crazy. Like, Violet is not the Ana player here, but that's just how they got it set up. Another TP. Tama's trying to go in dive. Deadeye is active here. Pulse Bomb dropped on Lab. The Qadsiah going to make use of the lack of mobility Cassidy has during that window. Ziava the self-destruct in server room. There's no way he's getting back in mech. That is crazy aggressive. He will be taken down before the fact. Tama eventually is going to be removed. That immortality field is, well, not placed, so checkmate can actually benefit from it at all. A little sloppy from Qadsiah, but it's a big investment from Vision in the Nano Winston.
Yeah, Qadsiah may be able to keep this going though, Mitch, right? You have Lambda here on the Tracer. You still have, you know, Landon actually behind enemy lines, but now Zeon's back in the mix. You still have Kellex here, so you still have some healing, and now you have the Simwall that cuts off the point.
It's more powerfully for Qadsiah, but they've lost Landon. Nice. They don't have him to make use of, and Ziad's going to be demeched yet again. This time, no chance to get back in either. Checkmate under a lot of pressure. Qadsiah running up on him on this Tracer. A much better look than we saw on Lijiang Tower, especially now that Qadsiah are forced to fight on the ground. And there's no, you know, verticality issue for the Tracer to overcome.
Yeah, no, it's a nice bio from Sile that actually connects on the right side of that sim wall, so it actually hits the odd, and no, not able to get any of the benefit of the healing there from Kellex. So we'll see now with this sound barrier coming up for Qadsiah. But let's go to a listen-in with Vision to see how they're going to take this high ground.
I'm down there. Diva, Simon. D.Va on me.
Ja, D.Va.
D.Va one.
Kill D.Va, Tama, kill D.Va. 3, 2, 1. I need to ult.
It's okay.
Lucio low.
Lucio.
Lucio 1. Kick.
Cast on point. Tama. Okay. Live Tama.
Yeah, kick. Farm nano.
I can take top again. No, they have window. Okay, just play for point.
They use to beat.
Yeah, they might TP here. They might TP top right on
Bottom right.
Play for point.
I can force him TP. 3, 2, 1, bubble now.
Shoot point.
Cast
Pop on top.
Up.
Oh my god. Cast sleeping.
I need to left.
10 to nano.
I'm dead.
Back.
Can go all the way out.
TP.
They have to cap point.
I have nano. Point to the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just go for another one.
Five here.
Wait for me.
Tama.
We are back here. Of course, high ground being abused by Qadsiah. It was a nice sleep from Sia onto Lapta, who would have really made use of that amp matrix. But Qadsiah have been able to avert the snowball map and fight back into the shuttle phase.
Yeah, it's going to be a nano here on the Tama up on the high ground. Going to save this jump as well, right? Because has to be nervous about whether it's a TP or people on the chase going to get out. And you're going to get rid of checkmate. It's going to be this Deadeye for Lapta, just trying to buy time, trying to back them up a little bit. It's going to get everybody on Qadsiah an opportunity to heal up.
I think Qadsiah are okay with this for sure. Slowing the game down. There's a symbol on the way. As long as I look like they'd abuse the Baptiste positioning here for Ziad, make sure that the D.Va is always going to be fully topped up. And Choicer once this had to burn a recall. So it's going to be a while before they threaten this setup on the high ground. Here's the symbol now playing into the shuttle. Qadsiah. Ziad has a remake opportunity if he doesn't sort of waste it going over aggressive. And Vision respect this, man. They just sort of disengage, but they're now down to 45 seconds to get this second checkpoint.
Yeah, it feels like Cookie needed that kill, right? He had a railgun shot there for Labda, just gonna a little bit wide, doesn't connect with him. Ziad still with this self-destruct. Mitch, I mean, you're going to be able to have him just fight all over the cart and just play this high ground so easy as you see. I mean, Cookie just trying to find a way to get to safety and not able to do so.
But checkmate, TP'd on top of shuttle to avoid the Winston. Ended up having to drop down. It doesn't matter because Cookie got picked up. Here's Aurelia and the Primal. This is definitely Vision Esports' last gasp at the map, and they're going for it. Violet gets picked up, but Landon is handled. Tama and Choice one able to combine on towards the Baptiste, but now TP for checkmate. He gets out of trouble, and then Labda pulls up on him and brings him down. There's just not enough healing in the end there for Tama. Violet and Sile both went down. The latter went down a little too early in the fight, and there's no recovery for Vision Esports. Qadsiah find a way to slow the game down and slowly get back into the shuttle phase.
Qadsiah does a great job just kind of holding serve on top of the shuttle. I thought Vision's offense actually early on, right? Outside of like the first fight or so, where they tried to actually break that server room setup. I thought the second time they did it, they actually completed it and did it in a really nice way, where Tama doesn't kind of burn his jump and then able to kind of jump back up to the high ground with the nano. So I thought some positives there from Vision, but another map that is prime for Qadsiah to take.
And just honestly, a really good showing from Choice One over the course of
much better.
Yeah, the trace play was excellent. I think like him being able to, spot the Deadeye and Lambda, drop a pulse bomber onto him, punish him for making use of that. They tried to play defensively inside the shuttle, but it ends up being a Baptiste matrix, like out on the cart, off to the side, in a place that checkmate can't make use of it. So Vision forcing the errors out of Qadsiah, right? With a good burst of speed, that's what this dive comp can do. But now they've got to do so on defense. Very much still dialed into this Winston defensive dive. It means that Tama has to be pretty proactive, and Sile needs good line of sight without getting just randomly picked off by like Landon or even Labda TPing up into the back line.
And we've talked about it in the past where the Brig is actually pretty good against the D.Va, right? An easy whip shot target, being able to just kind of swing freely, providing healing to everybody around. It's just Qadsiah. I mean, they've dealt with this before, right? Ziad is like such a pro about playing into comps just like this. They've done it so many different times. So it'll be a swap there from Labda. Gonna go from the Reaper back to the Cassidy, and a bit of a rematch of what we saw in the last round.
The Reaper's fine, right? I think to be a threat to Tama, but Cassidy hindrance might just be the way you want to go. Choice of one who's already picked off Labda, so not the starter Qadsiah we're looking for. It might have been a TP accompanying that. We might have seen Qadsiah make a grab for some real estate here and get punished for it, but you're gonna have to reset and try that again.
no, there's no way you could go here without any type of long-range hit scan type potential, right? You can never play like a Reaper Sim here, especially on like the first part of Gibraltar, and allow Cookie to just gain so much range. That's going to be Immortality Field used, but nope. By time you actually kind of see this next fight kick off, you're going to have it back. See, where is Sion trying to play from? I mean, this is a sick spot to get a bio.
It gets awkward now. He doesn't have good line of sight though. If Tama's going to contest the cart, so Tama can't really fully commit to that great bio though. Our cats have been trying to TP up onto the high ground and just fight Vision Esports, and have to do it here again, right, to really get the cart through. They made good progress, but it will be shut down once more. As Vision do have a good sense, I think, of how to use Tama without overcommitting to contesting the cart.
Absolutely, and I think Sile putting himself in that position up on the high ground has Violet there. Tama comes in, drops that bubble right on top of him, but it's a nice bio. Like you mentioned, they're able to keep that Ana alive, so it seems like that potentially is the target for Qadsiah, but Vision, at least through 2 fights here on defense, doing a good job. Oh, that's a pulse one that gets eaten. That is a nice use of defense matrix there from Ziad.
Royce one shows himself though, takes a quick salvo with the pulse pistol, so Ziad kind of knows the Tracer is there, gives himself away. Maybe just open with the pulse and a bit harder to predict. Either way, Ziad's in trouble.
Server again.
Shit, there's the same play, bro. Deja vu or what? Sile's popped here. So now Tama really only has his Brig killing to rely on, and Rallying will be huge in that regard, but require Tama to play a little bit closer to the ground. Landon, aggressive positioning here. Has to drop back up to that higher ground or the jump back up. Checkmate is taken down, but there it is. The lack of Ana turns up on the kill feed as Tama's brought down.
Yeah, but you might be able to hold this here for Vision, right? The card is in such a weird position. You're going to get players back off the spawn. You still have Violet here, right? He's pretty safe inside. Sile with a nice sleep on Ziad, not going to wake him up. It'd be great if he could get actually around the corner and get that nano off, and they do get the nano on to Qadsiah.
He's looking very good. Qadsiah one in the mix, hard to bring down. Gets a very close quarter fight in that room with Ziad slapped, so not initially able to mitigate damage with the defense matrix or create any further space. Nicely done. I mean, the Ana play for Sile's been very, very solid so far this round.
And we know that Violet is a tremendous Brig player, right? But Qadsiah really, starting to come alive. It's going to be a primal here used by Tama, just down on the low ground. It's going to be the Deadeye here, just trying to clear this out. Self-destruct here as well for Ziad, so he's going to get a mech back.
Okay, well, we get a grenade there onto Tama, but he strucks it off pretty quickly. Drops down in primal rage. Self-destruct was used here by Ziad. Symbol is up, so this is Qadsiah throwing everything at the wall, hoping something sticks. Eventually, Vision have to contest this.
Dude, I was like, if they just kite this and just get one player to contest, this Symbol going to go away.
Yeah, I think
maybe you have a chance.
They just made a miscalculation, Matt. I think they really wanted to take that straight to the very limit and not have to play into a sim wall. In fairness, Qadsiah commit like a fair bit there, but they don't have to use beat or amp matrix. Now they can TP amp matrix play, throw something in Vision. They could snowball this shuttle phase really heavily. Tama, no.
Qadsiah getting set up. Tama in a really bad spot. Let's go to a listening with Qadsiah, see if they can close out the map.
Help me point, guys. I'm on point,
Brick. I'm holding back line, Keep shooting the best out.
One speed trace in every call. Yeah, he's bottom right.
Still okay. I'm dead.
I'll just beat up point, guys. I'll just beat
Kill the one.
Kill the one.
Okay. See nice.
Nice.
Toss actually, but
Oh, that is brutal. That is one C9 into another. That is
we're getting
devastating, bro. I mean, yeah, Qadsiah know what's happening there, but for me, it's the fight outside that first checkpoint. Such a solid job with this defensive Winston comp from Vision Esports map, but that's Gibraltar for you. Their margin of error is already pretty slim anyway after having pretty limited progress on the attack side, but that's going to sting. That feels like one of the best looks, the best chance for Vision to use there, what I think is their signature comp.
Yeah.
And it's just not enough.
I mean, we're getting the Vision Esports greatest hits here, right? I mean, they look really good on defense, right? And essentially, like a double C9 to lose is like how they kind of end up kind of squandering. Gibraltar, look, I mean, they didn't get a great push on their offense. I thought Qadsiah did a great job, kind of controlling the shuttle phase. But the defense from Vision was very respectable, right? Like if you're able to get a touch here, towards the end where they were kind of kiting and waiting out that sim wall, the sim wall would have been gone. Maybe you get on top of it. No idea really kind of in terms of ultimates what they were tracking at that moment. But still, you would have burned some type of clock. The issue is that they don't touch, so they give up the point. And then they all start just kind of like funneling out and dying, and then they never actually get a fight on the second checkpoint. They just get bullied all the way back out to the spawn door and then just don't even get a chance to touch there.
I mean, and this is the problem though. Alcacia's composition is one that really, like, they just need like one opening, right? There's a couple of things you can do, like Sim Wall goes up, you can be really oppressive, but the TP here into the Amp Matrix, like we mentioned, of course, that that shuttle phase was at pretty serious risk of snowballing because you already have very favorable position. You actually don't have to Sim TP into a weird angle to Amp Matrix. You just get on the shuttle, you just aim at the door. There's not really anywhere for Vision to contest the cart and also stay out of line of sight of that Baptiste ultimate. So very, very difficult. And Qadsiah are the team in this region that are going to play this comp against you and punish you with those very quick Sim TP moments. So very good look here. And again, it was Qadsiah confident enough to play Baptiste into a dive comp, right? Which for me, I think is pretty telling. I don't think that, you know, let's say that VP or TM are going to try and play the same comp, that you can necessarily get away with that.
I will say this is much closer than like the Vision's other games against like some top 4 type of opponents. So if you are a fan of them, which you know, I've been kind of on the Vision bandwagon early on. I was an adopter. I had Violet on my fantasy team. He was probably my standout player.
What's the negative modifier for Ajaxes, by the way, in fantasy?
Oh, that's probably nasty. I mean, it's a good thing I can't lose any more points.
I mean, you can't lose any more than you have, bro. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you were second last, right? So not last. So
I mean, I basically won if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, but if you beat, I think your hidden objective was to beat Jack, and I think you achieved that. So
well, did Johnny win the whole thing?
No, Jake won by 6 points because Johnny had to play with minus 6 points.
So my mission is accomplished. That I didn't finish last and then Johnny didn't win. Well, that's actually like a championship moment for me.
Take your victory lap.
Yeah, you know, I'll have to prepare my speech in between series here. But if you look like Qadsiah, if you are going to give like Qadsiah those type of blunders, I mean, they're going to beat everybody, right? Where Vision, look, you come back, you play against, I believe the loser of this would play against Peps. So like, that's a winnable game for Vision. Though they probably don't make some of these type of mistakes or forced into making some of these mistakes against an opponent like that. And then who knows, right? That's kind of what you're working with here for Vision Esports, where a reverse sweep here would be very difficult to pull off. They'll have to obviously get Suravasa first, even you know, make it a reality.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Suravasa is the kind of map where if you're Qadsiah, you don't have to really shift around too much. I think there should be a sim ban aimed at Qadsiah here by Vision. That's obviously pretty critical to their strategy. Force them into, you know, playing like a Tracer Sojourn kind of look. And here it comes out. Vision said, okay, well, this is our last chance. We may as well get our secret weapon at them here. The Zarya ban is, well, doesn't mean anything. It's a protective anything, but you're...
Well, no, I like the Zarya ban because it's like if they wanted to kind of play some Zarya, which we've seen in the past, or starting to creep up in some other regions, you can play that Zarya and be pretty effective against like Ziad's Diva type of play, right? So and then Ziad wouldn't be the type of tank that would fall back and try and play like, I mean, he can play Hazard, right? But you'd much rather him be on like Diva. So I do actually think there is like meaning behind that one.
Yeah, and we have seen the Zarya creeping a lot more. I mean, I think Twisted Mind's playing a ton of it, right? Tama, you know, with the potential to make that switch over there, just, you know, have something that, you know, does less to keep your Diva in check. But if you're playing against Qadsiah, you can't take the Diva and the Symmetra out of rotation at the same time is kind of your issue. Those are the two signature factors of Qadsiah's strategy that will cause you problems. So if you can ban the Sim, you know, that's fine. You ban the Diva on some maps, it's also reasonable, but we've seen them quite happy to play Ramatra, right? Where we saw plenty of that on Lijiang Tower. So it is difficult to target a tank player of this caliber of Ziad. So I'm happy to see this. You play Tracer Sojourn or Cassidy, you throw that in here. Laptor, of course, you know, if there's concern about the more mobile enemy DPS, you want to try and hinder them to some degree. You can also try and run the Doomfist back here, at least on first point, I think.
If you're Vision?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they could try and run it early on. I think that'll probably be one of the bigger things to look at here early is like, okay, is Tama on Doom? Like, what is Qadsiah rolling out on, right? There's an opportunity for Vision to maybe kind of catch them off guard a little bit with like a tank's pick here, at least for first point, but Qadsiah is going to be fast to adjust.
Yeah. I think they're be able to throw a bunch of different looks at you. And so here we are, folks. This is Vision Esports at, well, great risk of dropping down to this lower bracket in the playoffs. A result that they themselves probably anticipated to some degree. They can certainly find success there, though. Obviously, Team Peps and Gen G having, being fifth seeds respectively, will be waiting for them down there. And those are matches that Vision would definitely like to take advantage of. And every reason to expect this team still to be part of that top 4. But a match we can tell Qadsiah, it's a tough ask, I think, straight out of the gates here in this playoff.
This wouldn't be a bad loss, though, for Vision, right? You go to the distance on Lijiang Tower and you have multiple Ajaxes and Chosuan. Can't really get anything going, whether it be like on, the Echo or Tracer. And then, map number 2, right? You kind of have like 2 instances where you can't actually make it back to the objective, and that's how you kind of end up losing, but you didn't even give up second checkpoint to Qadsiah, right? So some positives here for Vision to kind of take on throughout this, but you're playing up against a team who has been dominant in the region now for 2 stages, right? So you can't have those mistakes in a series like this, unfortunately.
I think also for Vision, so much of their success rides on their non-hit scan DPS player, right? And honestly, in this meta, it's kind of important, right? Whether like your Tracer player or your Sim player, your Reaper player, whatever. It feels like those are those specialist sort of roles that are being picked up that really can make or break your team's success. Like you expect at this level, most Sojourn players can be really, really solid, right? And if they're given space, if they're given good sightlines, they'll make use of them. Cookie's done that a lot on Lijiang Tower. There's some great pickoffs against Labdo switching into Cassidy, kind of disadvantaging himself as against the Sojourn, but trying to give him give himself more of an edge against the Venture, for example. So that's, for me, a given on Vision's side that Cookie's going to deliver. Choice 1 had a great map previously. It ends up not being quite enough. I think playing the defensive Winston comp, you've got to be a top tier team to be able to really, chain fights together and snowball, especially against a building ultimate bank of your opponents. So speaking of which, Tama, we have a pause here. Tama, DC. So we need to wait for them to get back in the server before we can be underway here on Suravasa. And in a first to 3, this would be the last chance, the last opportunity for Vision to choose a map, let alone stay alive in the series.
Yeah, I mean, you win here, right? You still have to see Qadsiah on push and hybrid, right?
Like they're just picking things right, bro. Like, they're just picking that.
Yeah, so I mean, the chance of coming back, obviously, for Vision, the road is, you know exactly kind of the road you have to go down. It's going to be very difficult, though, like we talked about. So, we can take a look at the world's map pool. So this dropped the other day on X. Had a chance to kind of check this out. So the control maps play so well for like dive teams, right? You look, it'll be awesome to see Shambali and then Route 66 back in the play. Dorado as well, like those even play well. Who knows? Maybe somebody picks New Queen Street. I mean, that could be something that could happen.
Right? We've seen that.
We've seen it creep up a little bit more, and then even in Asia. So New Junk City back in the pool. I love the map pool.
It's Dorado and Route 66 for Escort, bro. Like very Shambali Monastery in there as well. I mean, gosh, it's been a while, hot minute since we've seen Dorado. Also, the NA Wrecking Ball might be heavily favored by some of these maps, just quite.
But we've also done EMEA heavy for 2 stages in a row now, so like we never really see some of those. Like if there are dive maps in the pool, we just don't see them here typically, right?
That's true.
So to see some of those for Worlds,
I feel.
Yeah, we should. I bet if you got the EMEA teams together, they could all agree on 5 maps they would play in every single series.
We did get to moonlight as NA casters for that 1 week, and I feel like we saw a lot of Wrecking Ball in those games,
Zarya Reaper as well, very strong comp. So now that we get everybody back in game, we will see what Vision decides to do. So they most certainly could come out and play something like this. I think Sile plays the Kiri, and then same with Landon. So this time though, Labda actually will play the Freya, so quite interesting.
Okay, we'll see how. Again, I think against the Winston, it's a good shout, right? You can do a heck of a lot to disrupt there. So see how it goes in just a moment. Obviously, we'll have your game's audio sorted momentarily as well. Into the action already. Labda will face some scrutiny. And it's about trying to limit Tama's ability to dive deep, to pressure this backline. Checkmate, though, we talked about it. It's a non-hit scan player that you're really going to be looking to make the difference in this kind of matchup. And Checkmate, opening up your account on to someone like Violet is a very good start.
Yes, I mean, now you end up losing Sile, so you just get bullied back. So I mean, look, the Winston into the D.Va is typically like a losing battle, right? Where the D.Va is so good at, dueling with that Winston, even when the Winston kind of puts in the bubble, right? Being able to just kind of like fly in, knock him out, and then also just kind of put down lots of damage with the missiles. So we'll see if Tama adjusts or if we will continue to run this Winston, but that it seems like Vision Esports really likes.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it's really a core part of their composition is just pretty exploitable, I think. And this is even without, a Reaper on Qadsiah's side. They can probably get enough done here with Lapta, who, by the way, has already built that bowler shot up. We're at 49%. He and Checkmate having ultimates in hand is pretty terrifying if you're Vision Esports. Qadsiah 1, though, has had impact, right? You can see, based on that old charge, he's been getting work done. But Qadsiah are advantaged in basically every metric, and now Tama is getting stuck with a few of these bolts. The precious Winston bubble gets thrown down, and it only buys Tama a couple of seconds out there on the point as Qadsiah 1 just straight up loses the Tracer battle.
Yeah, and I know Kitsune rush down here for Sile thrown in late, so you actually get rid of Ziad and you get rid of Checkmate. So maybe there's an opportunity to battle back into this where Tama's still alive, gonna take purchase up on the point.
Nice little pickoffs at the backside of that fight, but Cookie is, what is going on? Half of Vision is still fighting pretty deep, and actually they trade favorably. So not only do they win a fight, I'd say with air quotes, they also get a cap behind that. That is huge. And now Violet, of course, can taxi reinforcements back into the fight.
Yeah, so I will be a flip here for Vision Esports as Qadsiah will be able to come back here. You're going to have probably matching sound barriers to end up working with, and we'll see if this bola shot ends up becoming impactful from Lambda as Tama going to get into that pole spawn right away, not going to end up using the primal.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what Checkmate was hoping to force out at the start of the fight, but Qadsiah one bomb on Checkmate, by the way. Clearly, no recall available for the Tracer. Quite a statement to make, of course, in any Tracer 1 versus 1. And now Qadsiah, without Checkmate, have to wait. They've probably got only one more chance to make a proper fight of this, and it's going to orbit around Calyx's sound barrier, I imagine. But Left is down already, and this is great from Vision Esports. Yep, it's not just Violet that hits the Ajax as opposed. Calyx unable to ultimate. And this is Qadsiah just falling in a screaming heap on this first flashpoint.
Man, and Ziad actually going to get DMAC'd here. They're going to let him stagger out. So there's a huge comeback there for Vision Esports, right? 99, they're going back and forth. Sile really kind of changed that previous fight that ends up resulting in the Vision Esports point flip. When he drops that rush a little bit later, they get 2 straight kills, they even it up, and then they're able to kind of hold on from there.
This is great calling from Vision Esports. Like, they're taking some unconventional windows for fights, right? Diving deep there, and catching out stragglers from Qadsiah. Some really good punishes. I think Alcat have to tighten up in a big way. Now Violet gets his beat down. Hey, everybody benefits from it. So far, winning in the Sound Barrier sweepstakes on Suravasa. Tama with a bit of a rap pitch up into the high ground and have that primal rage still ready to go. Will, of course, take some damage from the Freya, but can cover most of that over now with the use of that primal. A lot of disruption, hoping just to allow for a first point cap. I mean, Ziad being as low as he is, I think Qadsiah might have to play off this. No, it's going to be a Kitsune rush. They want to commit for the first flip, but Vision do get some percentage on the board to start with. Now Qadsiah can't afford to waste time. They've got to go. Tama, no primal and quite low, stuck within another pulse bomb, dropped
nice,
extremely low numbers, but you're right, the cleanse here from Sile keeps Tama in the game, but this is getting to be too much to heal through, Matt.
Yeah, with the Kitsune rush, it's very difficult to kind of heal through, but they end up losing Ziad's mech, so at least Tama are able to still kind of keep alive. But I think as you lose the DPS here for Vision Esports, then you're just going to whittle down under the pressure there from Qadsiah. So Qadsiah will end up getting the flip and taking the lead here on this point, but both teams kind of playing around that rush, overlaid over the point.
Generally, I feel like it's like a matter of 5-10% in terms of output between these teams that can have Vision with matches in this entire series. These fights that look really good with this Winston composition. 2 teams throwing their signature styles at one another. So far, Vision have been able to hang. Now, but while Qadsiah are up to 63%, Vision coming without any big ultimates except Violet. Another sound barrier would be unbelievable to build another one so quickly, but he needs to stay alive in order to do so. Cookies is a very tight angle. Can't really see too much with this. It's a very safe approach now as he'll probably take up this little off angle as they rotate the point.
Yeah, Calyx to the beat as well. That's going to be the bowler shot. It looks like it actually gets cleansed. It's going to be the sound barrier here from Violet. Pretty good. And actually, Calyx's sound barrier only connects with Dreamage. It's just Calyx, Landon, and Ziad who get the benefits of it.
Ziad Mac doesn't have a way to get back in quickly, and Lapta's already out of the fight. Landon very low, and no chance to use Kitsune here. Qadsiah won't be able to take this flashpoint away uncontested, but will come back in with a chance to retake.
It looks like it's going to be pretty similar to that first fight, right? We Kitsune rushes on both sides. Maybe the overclock here gets invested from Cookie, right? I know they try and move in with that Kitsune rush, the overclock. I know you can easily find a collab or, you know, a kill or two, some serious damage from Cookie that could come down.
Choicey nipping at the heels with a pulse bomb in his hands. It's going to be a Kitsune rush now from Qadsiah. They want to make this a quick affair, and Violet does get bowled over. Sile with a rush of his own tries to set it up on the point to at least set favorable conditions for Vision Esports, but losing their entire backline at the start of the fight is not where they want to find themselves. Ziad this time has to self-destruct to get back in mech, and it's a primal rage for Tama in theory to stall. Vision can't afford to give this up entirely without Cat at 99%, so they'll commit with what they have. Make some lemonade here as Cookie's got to be stuck by a bolt. There was a pulse bomb dropped by him, and Ziad's able to clean up that elimination. This now leaves Checkmate free to pressure Sile down, desperately trying to stay in the fight, but there they fall, and now Qadsiah have done enough to take their first flashpoint of the map.
Yeah, you lose both support for Vision Esports pretty early on. Tama ends up dropping the rush, but I know Violet obviously gone, Sile gone as well, and then Tama ends up using the Primal, just trying to stay alive there on the point. So does a nice job contesting it, allowing for Violet and Sile to get back into the fight, but still not enough to kind of keep it going. And look at this, Qadsiah, they'll take purchase on the point first. You see, you know, Tama playing off to the side there, maybe trying to coordinate a play with Chosuan, but he takes a lot of damage. Gonna have to back out to the supports.
That here doing a lot of damage to the masonry, not so much Vision Esports. And again, wanting to catch them out, and a bowler shot would be fantastic in the choke here for Qadsiah. Tama trying to find his way through. Ziad happy just to attract some attention for the time being, and there is that bowler shot. Cookie, Violet, and Sile all caught inside of it. Before Violet can beat, he's dropped down. Perfect position here for Lambda, peering over the top and getting a nasty bowler shot onto 3.
You wonder why they would like ban the fray, as we talked a little bit about, where Lambda maybe doesn't want to play it at times, you know, compared to like a Cassidy or a Sojourn, but playing it here on Suravasa and looking awesome. I mean, able to build up these bowler shots quite quickly. There, you know, gets a Cookie, and then both supports, they all get quite low, and then you're just going to have Checkmate go in, finish them off as Chosuan with a pulse bomb. Let's see if he can kind of find anything here. Double support ult here available for Qadsiah. Pretty sizable advantage.
Right, you went stick with the Checkmate again. Herbalife Nutrition Quadro Charge and Choice here one.
Yeah.
Give me something to chew on, buddy. Here's Landon now. Look at this. Qadsiah the ones that push off the point and take the fight. There's going to be a sound barrier instantly stopping them. Telex is holding, patient, onto his sound barrier. Will allow Landon to Kitsune rush first for the healing throughput, and then Ziad, just as he would have been D-Mech, is going to get beaten. Great timing from Kellex until the last possible second, optimizing his deployment of that key support ultimate. And now Qadsiah should have this flashpoint now. Gonna be tough for Vision to properly fight for this.
And when Sile ends up dropping his Kitsune rush, they still have Cookie alive, but he basically drops at the same time, where you might have been better holding up on your rush, maybe not even kind of contest this point, but potentially to kick off the fight in the next one. Chosuan looks like he's going to try and wrap around here. They know exactly where he's coming from. He will get a touch, so he will trigger OT. Tama's got Primal to use here as well.
Yeah, that's important because he has to give up a lot of his health to even contest, and Kellex gets a little bit too close to the Winston. Oh, Tama, a second with this Primal. Lambda juggled effortlessly. Just as we call Vision maybe not being in a position to retake the last second. They get the choice at one stall. Tama's Primal turns that situation for Kellex into a very dangerous one. He finds a second.
Yes, but I mean, they have nothing to work with now, right? I mean, you're gonna have this overclock, and then maybe Chosuan can connect with a pulse bomb, but Ziad is going to play so aggressive with this self-destruct, right? Essentially looking at it as an extra life, so expect him to go in, put a lot of pressure on like Violet, and then we'll see if he can kind of come up with that kill. It's pulse bomb actually on Ziad, takes a large chunk of his damage, so maybe trying to get that self-destruct down before you can even get close.
Another good ball shot into a choke. That could be nasty. Yes, big damage on Cookie. Sile also caught up, and Lambda's able to finish the job. Tama is low, and there's no backup for him whatsoever. Nice little angle there for Lambda to find. However, he and Landon have fallen. Chosuan and Violet able to be the last vestiges of Vision Esports fighting force, and they will be able to stall here. Chosuan got to be knocked away. That's the recall being used. There's not really enough time to get a full cohort of players into the point. If he gets killed, Chosuan may have given his team the opportunity, but Checkmate just stays alive. Tama is back. There's a pulse bomb available for Checkmate, though, to make use of. Here's Violet's beat. It's going to be crucial. Vision have another legitimate contest opportunity now, and in they go. Kitsune rush for Sile. Everything being committed here for Vision Esports. 4 players get the barrier. That might be enough. Checkmate throws a bomb somewhere into the Maelstrom. Unclear what it was supposed to connect with. But Cookie and Ziad are traded, favoring Vision. It's the Diva down for our Qadsiah now. The space creation's going to be harder, but Landon has the damage, and Cookie is plucked out by a kunai connection. Choice of one with a pulse bomb. What's the option? Looking maybe for Ziad. Kellex, almost. That could have been bad, but Landon doesn't benefit from the sound barrier because he's knocked aside Kellex while he tries to get it down. Violet, though, has fallen. It's only Sile left here for Vision Esports. Tama is dripping out too low. Sile can't keep him topped up as Ziad gets back into the fight in a big way. Armored up and ready to rumble. It's going to be Cookie forced out of the fight. And now Qadsiah throw everything at Vision Esports as they attempt to contest a second time. A second flashpoint for Alcad. What a fight.
I mean, dude, the ability for Qadsiah to come back into this one there was insane because Vision, they use both support ults. They kind of like overlay them on top of each other, which isn't ideal, but it looks like it's good enough to end up kind of flipping the point. And then Kellex uses that beat. It's supposed to be for Kellex, Landon, and Lambda. Landon actually falls during it, but guess what? It's enough to keep the two of them alive. Checkmate gets back, Ziad gets back, and they're able to clutch up there in the final moments.
Actually, a sick fight. So much happens. Great that we have at least a chance to sort of break it down. It's just some really good Overwatch. Flashpoint going to open up in just a second. Tama drops down and has a primal rage. He's got to use it now. He really wants to give his team that first point control. Jumping in the direction of the backline or so it looked. Tama now returns to the point and has an opportunity to knock Checkmate off course. Landing close to another Qadsiah rush that we just used it in the prior fight. That's how long it went for. Checkmate's pulse bomb lands outside the Winston bubble, and now a self-destruct from the high ground for Ziad. This is complicated. 3K for Ziad. It's Violet and Sile getting picked up, and Tama is a bonus.
Dude.
You're not coming back from that.
So you can actually see that coming from a little bit of, like, as soon as he launched the self-destruct, if you just follow that trajectory, you were like, ooh, that's gonna land like right in front of Tama. And unfortunately, both supports are there with him. At 3K there from Ziad. I mean, that is just silly stuff. He throws it over the top, and then Tama had already dove in, so the self-destruct from Ziad is almost launched back towards his own supports and the players. That Vision is diving. There's no way for them to get out.
That is heads up stuff, man. Not gonna lie. Here's Qadsiah rush now. But Landon was holding onto it. It's gonna be laid with a sound barrier of Kellex. It's Qadsiah. Only with support ultimates to commit to this fight, and they've got to fight against the same from Vision Esports. Cookie low though, in a desperate situation, and eventually run down by the micro rockets of Ziad. Sile picked up. Here's Qadsiah now, finally showing us just how much better they are. Tama inside his own bubble will fall, and now the chase is on for Violet, who try and get away. Nice stick though on Ziad. That is the mini diva taken out of the game, but Division have enough firepower to contest this. Violet at least heals up as he runs away, but Choice here one is pursued to his demise. And now all Vision can do is try and keep this stalled. Violet's living dangerously, but Tama has returned.
Yeah, they're gonna have that Tama get on and get a touch. Violet just kind of lurking around the corner, right? Doesn't want to kind of play with Chosuan, end up losing both of them. Vision's gonna have nothing to work with here. It's gonna be a bubble shot that's gonna come in here from Lambda. Checkmate with a pulse bomb as well, looking to close it out.
Tama's picked off yet again. Not ideal. That primal would have been big if he was able to get through it. It's a bubble shot from Lambda. That's been part of the theme here for Qadsiah, setting up with these nasty Freya ultimates, and Vision Esports have no choice but to walk headlong into it. Qadsiah get the job done at 3-0.
An unsurprising result, but I will give credit, I think, where it's due, where Vision, that was the best they've looked against like a top 4 caliber team all year long. It's Checkmate 33-3. I mean, kind of dominating, right? He's played Sim for so long, you're just kind of like, oh, like, let's see what happens when the Sim gets taken away. Like, doesn't even matter. He just goes to town on the Tracer, where
33, what the?
Yeah, just a crazy game there from Checkmate. But look, Qadsiah, they take care of business. Nothing too surprising there. Just a really decent performance against Vision that probably gives you some kind of like confidence moving forward here as they go into the lowers.
I'm telling you, man, it's like a 5% difference in execution. Vision Esports mechanically looked sick, and honestly, their calling on this map was really good. I loved how they were able to take opportunities to get a bit greedy on that first checkpoint and realize that Qadsiah were a little bit out of position, a little bit vulnerable to like a second wave of dive that came through. Choice one played really well. I mean, it's not just the pulse bombs getting stuck on Checkmate, which is obviously an amazing flex factor, but also really staying in a lot of these fights. I think like Violet is much less volatile. The sound barriers are great, doesn't help the Kellex. Also has a bit of an Ajax to start things off. if this is what Vision are capable of, like they are easily number 4 in this region. Like, I don't see these lower bracket teams putting too much pressure on them.
Well, okay, so Gen G's definitely been better over the previous, few weeks, right? But I would tend to agree. If your Vision, so you see this just kind of goes right over the top of me. That is a nasty placement there from Ziad. But I think if your Vision, you probably go back to the drawing board on some of those like Echo Venture type of looks that we saw from them early on. The Tracer, obviously very good for Chose It One, and I would try and kind of keep on with that. I mean, I think you'd be in a much better spot running that route, where this was a really obviously a dominant 3-0 win there for Qadsiah, not surprising, but some glimpses of hope there for Vision going into the lower bracket.
It's really interesting, right? Really similar damage dealt, really similar healing done. It's the massive difference in eliminations, though, that I feel like tells so much of this story. Qadsiah, for me, that's a number differential that indicates a bit more coordination from Qadsiah. The ability to convert that damage into guaranteed eliminations, whereas Vision maybe not always able to capitalize on moments like that. I think that's something that you're going to have to bear in mind going forward if you're Vision, and that's what I mean about being like a 5 to 10% difference.
Yeah, no, totally. And look, I know Qadsiah, they qualify for Worlds. I think them just qualifying is not their kind of end goal, right? This team believes they can actually kind of take on the teams coming from Asia and be number 1 in the world, be our world champion. So this is just the first step for them in terms of doing that.
And honestly, from what we saw at the mid-season championship, it's all on the table for this team, playing some fantastic Overwatch. They knew they wanted to pick the easier opponent, Matt, and just to lock that Stockholm place in, and now they're thinking about seeding. Now they're thinking about getting off to the best start possible. We're going to head, of course, to our desk, our panel of experts to break down, honestly, a pretty exciting 3-0, and also start to build some anticipation for our next first to 3 following.
Thank you both so much. Zoe here, back with Jake and Johnny, and we got a match to break down. Yes, the inevitable happened. Qadsiah is taking the 3-0 victory. However, not without Vision putting up a fight. And this was much more of a fight that we saw from them against VP just a week ago, right? I was really, really concerned after that beatdown that they suffered just 6 days ago. Now, they are pushing back. They're coming in with different ideas. Perhaps the recent patch has helped them here a little bit as well. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down.
I mean, I came into this thinking, okay, Vision have to cheese. They've been sort of cheesing all stage long, trying to run these double flex supports, and like that's the only way they're going to win. But we all knew, okay, Qadsiah, they're going to break that down, right? They're going to, whether it's the sim comps or just the dive, like they prepared for that opponent. And I think Vision have actually kind of doubled down with confidence, which is to say they've stepped away from going for any kind of crazy cheese. Like they're playing a heads up